The oldest child is really bossy. Middle children are peacemakers. The youngest children don't take responsibility for anything. Only children have trouble sharing. We've all heard the stereotypes about how the birth order of children can affect their personalities. And while some of these stereotypes can be blown way out of proportion, most researchers have concluded that birth order does affect one's personality. In fact, some researchers even believe that birth order is as important as the gender of the child and almost as important as their genetics. I'm Lauren, and today we'll be talking about how the birth order of children affects their personalities. Let's begin with oldest children. The oldest child will probably have more in common with other firstborns than with their own brothers and sisters. Because they've had so much control and attention from their parents, they're often over-responsible, reliable, well-behaved, careful, perfectionists, and a smaller version of their own parents. If you're a firstborn, you're probably a high achiever who seeks lots of approval, which means you probably do well in school or anything else you strive for. Unfortunately, this means that there can be a lot of pressure on an oldest child to overachieve, which can lead to problems with stress management down the road. These high-achieving perfectionist tendencies also mean that firstborns may have trouble admitting when they're wrong, as they've been taught not to ever make mistakes. Because of their innate sense of responsibility, oldest children will probably be a sort of mini-parent to their youngest siblings, hence the belief that they're bossy. Given the role of the achievement-oriented firstborn, they may set their sights higher than their younger siblings do. Oldest children are the most likely to be found in a leadership career with lots of power and responsibility, such as law, medicine, or as a CEO. In contrast, if you're a middle child, you are more likely to be understanding, cooperative, really concerned with fairness, flexible, competitive, and have fantastic social skills. Middle children are the most likely to receive the least amount of attention from their parents, and as a result, use the attention from their family of choice, or their friends, as compensation. Middle children are likely to pick a more intimate circle of friends to represent their extended family, and it's there that they can find that attention that might be lacking in their original family. Though middle children can often be late bloomers, they may also find themselves in power careers that allow them to use their powerful negotiating skills and get that all-too-needed attention. It's highly unlikely that the middle and oldest child will ever excel at the same thing. In fact, the personality trait that defines a person as a middle child will probably be opposite of that of their oldest and youngest sibling. This may mean that if the oldest child excels at school, the middle child may be highly successful in sports, or vice versa. But those wonderful social skills that they've learned as the middle child, negotiating and navigating within their family structure, can help prepare them for an entrepreneurial role when they grow up. If you're the youngest child, your parents are probably confident in their role as caregiver, and therefore more lenient, and don't necessarily pay as much attention to your every move or milestone as they did with your older siblings. Thus, you're probably more charming, likable, popular, and a little bit spoiled. Younger children are the most likely to have more freedom than the other siblings and, in a sense, are more independent. Younger children also usually have more in common with the oldest child than with the middle child, as both of them have been made to feel special and somewhat entitled to attention and care. Their range of influence extends throughout their family, which can be beneficial for them, both emotionally and physically. Hence, they may experience a sense of place and security within their immediate family. It's probably not too surprising to note that youngest children are the most likely to find careers in the entertainment business, as actors, comedians, writers, directors, and so on. Because their parents are more laid back and lenient, they expect the freedom to follow their own path in a more creative style. And as the baby of the family, they've probably had less responsibility than the other siblings, and therefore are less likely to be attracted to careers that come with more responsibility. And finally, only children. If you're an only child, you grow up surrounded by adults, and therefore are probably more verbal and well-spoken in your opinions, mature, resourceful, creative, and confident. Because they were exposed to more adult behaviors than child behaviors when they were growing up, they are more like the firstborns and youngest children. Only children have the sole attention from their parents, which can be beneficial in many ways, but is eventually balanced out in that children may feel scrutinized or controlled by their parents as they grow up. Only children can gain an almost adult-like intelligence early on, more so than other types of children. And because they spend so much time alone, they often have to be creative in the ways that they entertain themselves, which means that only children are more likely to develop hobbies early on in life. Because only children may be used to feeling important or entitled to their parents' attention, they may have a harder time when things don't necessarily go their way. And because they're surrounded by competent adults when they were growing up, only children are almost as susceptible to perfectionism as oldest children. How birth order contributes to the differences in children's personalities ultimately boils down to nature versus nurture. I doubt that if you're the oldest child, you are biologically programmed to be a perfectionist simply because you were born first. Rather, it's more up to the parents, how much attention, pressure, praise, and expectations they set on each child. That, I think, is more determinant of a child's personality than birth order can ever be.